What is an idealized value stream? Hi, I'm Joshua Barnes, the founder of Process Mentors, and that is the topic that I'm going to cover on this episode of All Things Disciplined Agile. So, as part of a 12 episode series, I have been trying to bring some good awareness to what we've got in the Disciplined Agile Value Stream Consultant course. And as part of what I've been covering and I'll cover today, a lot of it is exactly like we would see in the body of knowledge out of the VSC course, but I am also including some tailorings that we have been doing that have resonated very well with customers that we've been supporting. So this is the list of items that I'll be covering in part of the 12-part series, and where we're at today is the idealized value stream. So to begin with, a value stream is the set of actions that take place to add value to a customer from the initial request, the identification of an idea or a need, through the realization of value to that customer. And we always want our value stream to begin and end with a customer, whether that is an internal or external one. So what does a idealized version of a value stream to be able to deliver value to our customers look like? Well, to begin with, what we have is we have our customers and we've got value starts with them. Again, we have an idea, we have a request that comes from our customers, or through our stakeholders, they have identified something that they feel will be of value to them. So I'm going to start off by taking a look at sort of the business side of this and what we would see in portfolio management. So at the highest level, what we would have is strategies, our strategic objectives, the strategic outcomes that we are driving for. Now, what we would find with identification of value streams in the organization, also sometimes referred to as product lines, we might have a number of strategic objectives. We might have 5, we might have 8 or 10 of these. And for a particular area in the organization, a value stream, a product or a service value stream, we might have a subset of those. And in this case, I'm just representing 3 of them. And an example of that I've tied into in the last live stream that I did on the minimum business increment. At a very high level, we might see something such as increased direct-to-consumer sales by 3.25% compound annual growth rate over time periods such as fiscal year 2022 and 2023. So this is something that a fair amount of effort, a rather long timeline, right? We typically see these types of objectives that are out on a roadmap from anywhere from maybe 1 to 3, or sometimes even longer, a 3 to 5 year type of time horizon. So something that large will need to be decomposed into smaller quantities of work that we can do to achieve them. So from the strategic objective, what we do is we break these down into identifying initiatives. And initiatives are also still very large. And I did have some questions that resulted from taking a look at the MBI that I used as an example, which we'll also take a look at today. And initiatives at this level are very similar to what we would see from a SAFe perspective, a Scaled Agile Framework perspective at the EPIC level. So these are large quantities of work that we need to further decompose. So an example of an initiative that I have here is increase ultra premium product sales by 48% compound annual growth rate over fiscal year 2022. So to achieve that strategic objective, right, 3.25% growth in a direct to consumer sales market, we would have a number of initiatives. And one of the initiatives is a particular type of product and a growth target that we're looking to achieve. So going from the initiatives, what we would find next is we're going to break those down into minimum business increments or potentially MVPs. So either a minimum viable product, if we're still looking at potentially something we're going to try and productize or monetize. And then for our existing products, we would look for using the MBI, the next minimum business increment, that smallest next thing that we could do that would provide value. So just one of the MBIs that would be needed, that was identified and be needed to satisfy the initiative for the ultra premium product growth is that we would develop a microsite with the very special VIP specific user interface. Right, so we'd have a number of MBIs for our ultra premium product space that would roll up and help contribute to achieving a targeted growth rate, which was the initiative. And that initiative, amongst other initiatives, is contributing to achieving our strategic objective. So if we're looking at things like this, yeah, we would identify a lot of initiatives. We would identify a number of minimum business increments, which form our business backlog. And one of the things that we should expect is the strategic objectives, those are rarely going to change, right? Those are things that, again, we're looking for a rather long time span, large things that are going to take a lot of effort and a lot of different efforts to be able to see realization of. Initiatives, we should see some change. So on here I have they're going to infrequently change. I mean, based on what we're seeing in the marketplace, based on the outcomes from our MBIs that we're measuring, we will be able to make different decisions as far as the initiatives that we've identified, the MBIs that are helping to support those initiatives, and then going a little bit further along, smaller in scope. We should expect to see changes in the business backlog with the MBIs that we have identified and the ordering of them. So next, as we're taking a look at what we might see coming next, well, we've got this discovery workflow. So in our product management space that we have in this idealized value stream, we, very similar to a product backlog, where those backlog items, those stories, whether user or technical, that are at the top of the backlog, those are the ones that we will have invested more time and effort into writing out things like acceptance criteria and the discussion that's going to be needed. Very similar with our business backlog. And in this case, all the MBIs that I'm representing here. The discovery workflow is where we are taking those top ordered minimum business increments and investing that additional time in them, so that as we get to be to the point where they're in this intake queue, they are in a state of readiness. They meet the definition of ready that we've established for our MBIs. So the intake queue is really the bridge between the business side and the implementation side. And it's at this juncture I do want to bring a little attention that inside of the Discipline Agile Value Stream Consultant course and the existing body of knowledge, we do focus from a visual representation on the development value stream. Now, we teach and we talk quite a bit about attending to either the supporting value stream or the operational value stream. And there are updates that are going to be coming to incorporate this in, but I'm going to go ahead and show one version, one way that we've been using to describe this and visually representing all three of these types of value streams, or potentially even referred to as value stream segments. And I'm going to use the MBI that we had from the last live stream that I did, which is a complicated MBI. What we have is we've got both a fair amount of work in the development value stream, and we have a number of products that need to be enhanced. So from an IT enablement perspective, we've got a lot of work there. But we've also got work in the operational value stream. We have things that are going to need to be done in parallel while the IT work, while the development work is being done. And we do have supporting work, right? We do have a marketing campaign that we can't wait until all the dev work is done. We need to be doing this in parallel so that we're coordinating the efforts. And when we're ready to actually bring that value to the customer, we're not catching one of these areas off guard. We're not sitting and waiting. We're not using something like feature toggling, or not having the ability to actually release some of the work that has been produced, some or all of it. So how I'm trying to convey this visually is that instead of just having a development intake backlog and the development intake part of this underneath the darker green, the implementation side of our value stream, what I'm showing is that we have an intake backlog, and we wouldn't pull this particular MBI, right? Pull it out and start working on it, bringing it into this backlog until we were at a point where we knew the people that were going to be contributing to the value adding activities of what we're trying to provide to our customer, that they're in a position to start doing that work. So in this case, I'm showing that, yes, in the operational value stream, we did have work we needed to do with the staffing and the different types of roles from a customer support perspective. And so here I'm showing that, yes, there's work. There is a Kanban board that they're using to be able to manage that work. And the next thing that I'm going to show in the development value stream, although I've got two teams represented here, product backlog 1, product backlog 2, in this complicated, more complex MBI, there were 5 different products that needed to be enhanced. So here's where we would take a look from a program management perspective, that in the operational value stream and now in the development value stream, the people on the teams that were needed to be able to start this work at the point in time from a coordination perspective were ready. And then finally, we're going to take a look at the supporting value stream. And yes, there was a marketing team that needed to create a marketing campaign, a lot of digital and print assets. There was some sponsorship of some events to make sure that there was good awareness of this, the outcome of the MBI, which was developing this microsite. So that is one of the ways that we can represent the flow of work and when we would be pulling that MBI to work on, especially in a situation where we've got a fair amount of work that is going on in the development value stream, but we also have the operational and support value streams that are doing work at the same time period, and we're needing to coordinate that. And then ultimately, yep, we've got our purple line there to the right, and it goes up, and we deliver the value to the customer. So just one other permutation of this that I'll show that is a different type of MBI. We might have an MBI that is less complex. An MBI that has some work by a team that is enhancing one of our products, and a very small amount of work in the operationalization of that. And so that's the representation here. Is we pull the MBI, the development team starts doing their work, we are attending to our operational value stream, and as they are ready to have the bit of training that is needed and the awareness of what this enhanced functionality within that particular product is, we're ready to bring that value to the customer. And we've attended to, in this case, the 2 value streams that are contributing to that value being delivered. Of course, we could have lots of other scenarios, right? We could have scenarios where there is a lot of work in the operational value stream and maybe very little work in the development of the supporting value stream. Or we could have a fair amount of work in the supporting, a little bit of work in operational, and potentially no work in the development value stream. But we're aware of the capacity that the people on those teams that are doing that work need to be performing, so that when we go through and do something like value flow planning, we understand what we could pull and what we could start working on next. So there it is, the idealized value stream, a bit of an evolution or a slight difference in the visual representation of it that I'm showing here. And with that, I will see, it doesn't look like there are any questions that I am seeing in the comments. And so I will wrap up with saying, if there are any other questions, thoughts, anything as I'm building on these episodes week over week, please go ahead and post on LinkedIn, or post if you happen to be watching this on YouTube. And I will endeavor to be able to provide an answer, or recruit some of the other discipline Agile value stream consultants or instructors to help me answer anything. Thanks, and I will see you next time.